What's up, everybody? This is Steve Strelacci. Today we are looking at the Nano Cortex from Neural DSP. I was not part of the official launch with Neural themselves, but my friends from Sweetwater reached out and wanted to get a video put out immediately, so they sent this out to me and are sponsoring this video. So let's talk about the good, the bad, the ugly. I've had my fair share of criticisms and complaints of Neural DSP, and I have to say, I'm just going to say up front that I am really excited about this product because I do think that this is something that's better suited for my needs and what I do. So this product has become quite a bit of a controversy because of Neural's interesting marketing campaign and strategy behind this. But look, at the end of the day, whether you liked it or not, the whole movie thing that they did, they got everybody talking about this Nano Cortex, whether it was meant to be leaked or not, those pictures that went around and the link that went around, whatever it is, those videos got everybody watching Neural for a couple of days. And then once the product came, it's like this huge explosion of, okay, it's finally here. Let's see what it could do. So say what you want about the marketing strategy. I do think it worked because everybody, literally everybody, has been talking about Neural. And as we go here, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And if it's your first time here on the channel, I do all sorts of digital modeling content from Quad Cortex, now Nano, the Kemper Player, Headrush Prime, Fractal, Helix, HX Stomp. I pretty much do all things digital modeling on this channel, and my analytics show that less than 20% of my viewers are subscribed. So if you're into this sort of thing and you're a guitar player, consider hitting that subscribe button, and let's get to the content. So this first bit's going to be a little bit of a first impression discussion, and then we're going to get into some tones. I made some captures of my actual rig, and we'll get into some sounds later. Y'all know how it sounds. I mean, it sounds like the Quad Cortex. For some reason, I did the same thing with the HX Stomp. When I first went from the big Helix to the HX Stomp, I could swear that the HX Stomp sounded better. And I feel like the same thing is going on with the Nano Cortex here, because I don't know what it is, but something about it sounds better. I don't know if it's the balanced 1/4 inch outs and then using like a legit DI box. Maybe that has something to do with the sound. Maybe it cleans up something or it adds that analog thingy to it. I don't know. I'm not typically one of those people that's a conspiracy theorist on this stuff, but I just happen to prefer the sound. So just up front, as far as straight up the captures and the sounds, so far I'm liking Nano better. So looking around, one of my favorite things about this is that it has actual knobs. So unlike the Quad Cortex, where my biggest criticism is on the fly adjustment, it drove me crazy having to hit check mark, swipe out of gig view, all that nonsense. This being bass, middle, treble, amount are right there, easy to access. So adjusting your gain, your EQ on your captures on the fly is actually really easy. You do have to save it though immediately. So if you do make an adjustment on the gig, you do have to hit the save button. Otherwise it won't save. I wonder if they'll ever implement like a what you see is what you get, where it just always memorizes where the knobs are at in your current state of using it. And a couple of things that people haven't really talked about yet. I've seen a couple of videos. John Cordy did a great one. And what people aren't talking enough about this is two things. People are talking about that it does make captures. So compared to something like the Tone X or the Kemper Player, which are similar in price range and features, Tone X has way less features, but it could do 3-foot switches. But I honestly don't see this as a competitive thing for Tone X. It actually does a lot more than Tone X, in my opinion. And then Kemper Player is probably the closest competition. Kemper Player, you have 3-foot switches, but you can't make your profiles, which is something I actually bought it because I thought it would do. Sorry, my voice is a little scratchy. It's hot as hell in this room. I've got my fan on, so if you're hearing weird noises, that's why. So this is the best bang for your buck intro to capturing, profiling, whatever it is, getting your real amp sounds, because you could use this as just a player for your captures. So just capture your amp sounds, put this after your pedal board that you already have, and you have a great intro to capturing. You could take this on tour with you, and then if you're using a real pedal board in a backline, guess what? You could say, I like the way this sounds. I'm going to capture this. Set up a quick capture rig, and you're off and running. So I do really like the form factor. I like the size, definitely. It's really light. I love the power supply. There is no power supply. You're actually able to run this off of normal 9-volt power. It says 600 milliamps, but any normal pedal power is going to power this thing. That's awesome. And probably the biggest unsung hero for me is that it's USB bus powered as a recording interface. So if you're somebody that does mobile recording or somebody that wants to record at home, or you do both, gig and record, this has you covered. You don't need power supply. So you could plug this USB-C right into your laptop or your computer, and you can get a whole recording rig just by plugging it in. And for me, that's really cool because when I'm on the road and I'm making videos, or if I'm doing a session for somebody, I'm always having to bring an extra interface, extra cables, extra power, maybe a microphone for something. And what this allows you to do is just have everything just right on here. So you just plug in USB and it powers it. It does everything. You could basically keep this in your bag and just have it on you at all times. It's a great backup rig if you're not interested in going full in digital yet. There's just a lot of good things to be said about it. And I know coming from me, that's a strong statement. So basically what we have here is when you're looking at this from a gigging experience, you have 4 foot switches. So this is an AB of these 2, and then this is an AB of these 2 in the most simple terms. So you can get 4 presets at a time when you're in this mode. And for me, the way I made my captures, I basically have 4 levels of gain. I have clean, light crunch, heavier, and then I have a solo. And for me, those are the only 4 sounds that I use. So for me, this is actually perfect as it is. The only criticism that I would have is I wish it had a 2-button foot switch extension, kind of like the HX Stomp does, where the MIDI and expression pedal are the MIDI and expression jack are one and the same. If we had an extra expression jack that we could make into a foot switch 3 and 4 that can activate and deactivate the chorus and the analog delay, that would make this much better for me, because you could just toggle the effects. Right now, the way I have it set for if I was going to take this on a gig right now, I wouldn't be using the chorus and the delay, except for my solo preset, because I have it preset with a delay on it. But there's no way to toggle the effects on and off unless I save the preset twice with the effects on. If I'm wrong about that, let me know in the comments, because as far as my experimentations and reading the manual, I could not find anything on that. And I like that we have independent output levels and headphone volume. So it is an 1/8" headphone on the back, which you just plug your headphones into. You can plug your in-ears, whatever it is. I prefer a 1/4". I think it's a little bit more pro level, but hey, whatever. It's a smaller unit, so not a deal breaker by any means. The MIDI expression jack, like I said, I really wish that we had separate MIDI and separate expression. It would be great to be able to MIDI control a bunch of presets and then also have a 2-button foot switch to control the effects. Speaking of those effects, I know I'm kind of random order here, just kind of talking about my impressions here, but the effects, right now we only have 1 chorus and 1 delay. So if you don't like dimension chorus and you don't like analog delay and you don't like the Mind Hall reverb, maybe it's not for you yet. But for me personally, those are effects that I use. I choose those in my normal presets. I always use analog delay, and I always use the dimension chorus in all of the modelers. There's a reason it's modeled in all of them. I do just wish that we could get into an effects mode where we could turn the effects on and off. So let's talk about the app a little bit. Mine connected right away. I opened up the Cortex Control app. I didn't even have to search for the Nano. It just found it. So that was really nice. And everything is really pretty nicely laid out. So these 4 are the 4 that I was mentioning before. So I can A and B between these 2 by pressing the foot switch here. And then I can A-B between these 2 from this foot switch. Pretty simple, straightforward. You could see it happening there in real time. Now when I scroll down, I get to my capture area where you could just pick the capture for your preset. You could turn your cabinet section on and off. My presets here have the cabinets on, so I have my cabinets set to off. The effects, you have your noise gate in block 1, your pitch shifter in block 1. This is definitely something that I feel like, I guess for now it's a miss. I mean, not being able to put an overdrive pedal in, but I also get it where the way they laid out the foot switches, you can't have a stomp box the way that they have the foot switches laid out. So from that mindset, they basically want you to make your captures with the drive pedals baked into them, which I did. So having no drive pedal, it's not a deal breaker. You'd have to step on it anyway to engage it. So you basically just make a preset with the drive pedal engaged. I haven't done a ton with the pitch shifter. I really don't do much with pitch shifting. And then getting to the modulation, you just tap on it and you have all of your knobs here that are interactive. And this mix knob is going to correspond to the amount knob on the unit. So if you could see this amount, this knob right here, watch this change in real time with the mix. So you set up your parameters, and this is something I really like. You set up your parameters on the app, and then this amount knob is going to control your mix. So if you get to a gig and your reverb's too hot or whatever is too hot, you can adjust that by bending over and touching a knob, having a tangible knob. Very nice. Kudos Neural for that one. And you can just see the app's really easy to navigate. We have really basic stuff here, guys. So don't expect, a full rig replacement. I don't see this as a rig replacement. I see this as a supplemental tool to a pedal board. Here's your delay settings. And that's pretty much all you can do as far as a preset goes. So when going into this, don't have the full Quad Cortex rig replacement in a smaller package. This is definitely for somebody looking for a downsized rig. I'd probably put one of my favorite overdrives in front of it, and that's the other. And the other thing is that there's no effects loop. So I'll put this in another criticism category, that there is no effects loop. So if you want to put your own delays, your own reverb, or your own anything, you can't place it in the signal chain. You basically have to turn off the chorus and turn off the delay and then put your effects after it, which, hey, at the end of the day, really isn't that big of a deal. I feel like the mentality for this needs to be, it's a capture player. This is a capture maker and a capture player. Everything else is bell and whistle extra, I think. And for the price point, I think it's similar enough to the others, but it has the ability to make the capture. So it's an interesting place we're in right now with these capture profiling devices that are getting smaller and smaller. They're all kind of choosing different feature sets, so it's going to come down to the player, what you prefer. But I could take this and put this in the effects loop of an HX Stomp XL, for example, and have a full great rig that I'd be very happy with. And there's no reason that I can't do that. Or put in the effects loop of your Fractal, or the effects loop of whatever it is you're doing. You could put drive pedals in front and then modulation effects after. A lot of people I know just use Quad Cortex for the amp capturing, and that's it. So if you're not crazy about Neural's effects, you can for sure just use the capture box, have 4 captures at your feet at all times, put drives in front, put post effects after, and then you're fine. But again, this is not for a full replacement all-in-one rig, in my opinion. Sure, you can get away with this. If I only needed 4 levels of drive, 4 sounds all night, yes, I can get away with this, but realistically, I think most players are going to want a little bit more. Oh, and speaking of which, when we were talking about the effects, this button here, this will page you to your different effects. And you see the amount knob keeps changing because each pedal has its own setting. So wherever I'm at in the signal chain, so I would basically show up to a gig with this on reverb. And depending on how my reverb sounds through front of house, I can adjust the amount right from there. And if then they tell me the delay is they mixed on delay is too much, I go around, find the delay, turn the mix down. So really intuitive interface as far as that goes. You can also use your foot switch. These are the same rotary encoder knobs as Quad Cortex. And doing this, I can change this, and you see the app here going as I rotate the knob. I can use this to scroll through my capture bank, and I can actually change the bank. So you see this menu swiping by, paging through the banks up here. So if I'm on a gig and I need to find a specific capture, I can do it, and then use this rotary encoder to navigate. And the same thing goes for the cabinet section. I don't have cabinets on here, so I'm not going to show you that. But the same principal rules here. You have your 5 cabinets here. Oh, yeah, you know what? There they are. So, yeah, you've got your cabinets here. So you could replace these 5 with your favorite impulse responses or any of the other ones that are included. And then you could just rotate here. So it's actually pretty easy to build something on the fly with this. I would just recommend using the app. I threw these presets together in, I don't know, 5 minutes or so. It's easy enough to use the app, and I would definitely recommend using it. But if you're ever in a situation where you need it, it's pretty easy to navigate on the unit, I have to say. All right, let's end off here with some sounds. All right, so let's start off where I'm going to be on my clean preset. We're a little out of tune. Let's use the tuner. So now I'm stepping on the right foot switch, and actually look at that, the tuner pops up on the app too. So I mean, if I'm using this in the studio, it's nice having this display right there on my phone. I don't know if I would want to have my phone out on a gig doing this type of thing, but that's pretty cool. Now this would be considered my bass sound. This is my my matchless with my Northern ODRC. Get some touch dynamics when you roll the volume down. See, I think that might be a little too much reverb, and I can adjust that right from the unit here. So this is going to be my amount. Check that out. You see the mix knob going. And I'm just going to save that. Great. Now my third sound that I normally go to is this heavier sound. This is my Nordland, Prince of Tone, and Matchless in one. Now I've got my solo, which is going to have the little bit of an analog delay on it and a little bit more volume. So let's go back to my clean, and just because it's that easy to turn the mod on. So the chorus really sounds good out the gate, and then let's hit this with some delay. This is like the stock delay. And again, I can change the mix in real time. The app is really fast and really responsive. I mean, the changes are literally right on with it. And even if you look here at the main menu, it'll actually show you in real time where the knobs are set. See if we can make this visible. You have the screen. I don't need that. So here you can see as I change the parameters, you see it changing in real time on the unit, and it's really responsive. I mean, I'm trying to beat it and I really can't. It's right with it. So the Bluetooth connectivity is really good. I mean, it works as good as it can. So yeah, I guess that's it. Those are my first impressions of the Nano Cortex. Let me know what you want to see in future content. And if you made it this far in the video, thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one.